Hello everyone, the Duke here, and today we are going to be fixing up this Jetson Bolt Pro. I got this off Facebook Marketplace for like $120, and all it needs is a throttle because the old one was completely non-functioning. I kind of ripped it up, as you can tell there. In order to fix it, I got this throttle right here. Now, I didn't get this from Jetson because you can't buy it directly from them, which is stupid because that seems to be the most prominent point of failure on these. I got this from AliExpress for around $50. Took a couple weeks to arrive, and so we're gonna throw this on the bike and go from there. We gotta remove this cover first thing, and most of these screws are gone. I think there's only 3 left, so we're gonna unscrew that and go from there. 3 screws later. Now here is the battery, and this is the controller, and the only thing we're really gonna do is unplug the battery, which is this big connector right here, just to make sure there's no residual current. I mean, it shouldn't be that much of an issue, but before I do that, actually, I should go ahead and test to make sure that this right here, which is the connector, will work. Let's see if we can just figure out which connector looks close enough to it. So this connector looked about right, so I'm just gonna see if this works. First of all, we'll just kind of slide it on there. We'll go ahead and turn on the bike, which, oops, look at that. I give it a little throttle. It tries to move, so this works. So now it's super easy install. The problem is gonna be running the cable, because it looks like the cable runs. We're gonna turn this off, and look at that, it turns off just fine. The icons are a little different compared to, like, this is H and L, that's just full. I mean, low battery, it's basically the same, but the problem is going to be running this cable through the stem, I think all the way over here, and then right here. And I'm kind of inclined not to do that because this isn't a waterproof enclosure. I mean, it was a used bike. What's funny is that the guy, he didn't know what was wrong with it because it wasn't turning on at all, but he had already bought the extra controller, but he didn't know how to install it. So I just took off the old one, connected all the ports to basically what it was, the previous one was connected to, and there's a couple that were unplugged, and so I just plugged those in as well, and then it started working. So very easy install on that. So now the biggest problem is just gonna be finding a way to route this without having to rip out all these cables, because dude, there's gonna be no way. So if you're curious on how to get the old controller off, just beat the tar out of it. I actually wasn't even able to get this piece of metal off because I feel like it's kind of rusted onto it. It's just, I cannot move it, and I can't get the Allen wrench right there to get in between it. So I just slid this on, tilted it down a little, so that way the Allen wrench in the back, if it'll focus, it'll have access to that. So I just decided that I'm just gonna run the cable around the outside because there's really no way of getting it in here without like tearing out all of them, and at that point I'm pretty much rewiring and running brake cables, and that's just not worth it for me. And yeah, it's not going to be as pretty as like the way the original one was routed, and I thought about even trying to use the original wiring, but I don't want to potentially mess up this controller if something's wrong with this wiring. So I'm just gonna snip that probably and hide it away, and then with this one right here, I'm going to route it probably in the same little hole as the little cable right here goes. There's a little hole you can push it in, and we'll screw it all together, and that'll be that. So just to show you where I ran the cable, because obviously I need to put some zip ties, I pretty much had it go around the outside, but then there's a little inlet right here near the Jetson logo that I kind of shoved it in there, and that seemed to be the best place to put it because, again, running it through here is just not an option. I'm going to trim this cable, and I'm probably going to like zip tie this kind of right here and just tidy up a little just to make sure it's still able to turn but isn't just hanging there ready to be caught. But I actually did just test it. Unfortunately, it ran out of battery because it's cold and I haven't been keeping it on the tender, but it works. The throttle, very nice and springy. This, if you hold it for 3 seconds, turns on the headlight, and it doesn't flash anymore, because if you don't know, if your headlight is flashing on this, that means your throttle is bad. It's got, of course, the battery meter right there, which I can go ahead and do a little peel. Look at that. Okay, never mind, it's cold. But yeah, this thing is working. So with a $50 part from AliExpress, I was able to fix this Jetson Bolt Pro. It's really stupid you can't buy the throttle from Jetson, but with a plug-and-play adapter from AliExpress, it works fine. And I mean, there's obviously ones that are cheaper, but those will require you to wire it up. And since I couldn't find a diagram on like which wire goes where, you're on your own. But I mean, it's not too bad. For $170 investment, I have a working e-bike, which is pretty awesome. So hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you've got any questions, and this has been the Duke, signing off.